Green Lantern War Journal, issue 5, Philip Kennedy Johnson and Montos on the art. So, this is John has got his new ring. You know, they got the one that was on the Varan, yeah, and he reignited it with the Genesis energy.
Fragment, yeah.
Yeah. So this picks up here, and basically the ring, because it's, you know, he basically asked the ring, because he's been connected to this Radiant Dead stuff, he asked to see what this other Earth was like, or this other universe, and he gets like a glimpse of it. And honestly, my only critique of the art is going to be on this 2-page spread where you've got all the panels showing you glimpses of this other Earth. And they knew this was a problem because they put in arrows to show you where to read when you get to the bottom of the page, and that did feel a bit clunky. And I get why they put them in though, because I'm just trained to go to the left and go right across. It didn't naturally spiral for me, and they clearly thought of that. They obviously had someone test read it, and they've put in these little arrows for the last few panels to tell you what order to go in. It's, you know, it's a bit of a clunky fix, but at least they recognize it needed fixing, so that's something. Yeah,
because when I was reading this one, I got down and then I went to the immediate where the Dark Star logo is.
Yeah.
And then I saw the arrows, like, oh no, so then I had to backtrack. So, but good on the letterer nailed it. To see that was going to be a problem with the art, because you also don't want to cover it up too much, right? Because this is like a showpiece.
Oh, for sure, yeah. The page is very pretty. There's no denying the actual art skill. But the choice of the laying out these panels and narration boxes was a little, you know, it wasn't the perfect layout. We'll just say. So yeah, we've got John and Shepard as the Lantern from the Other Earth, just to remind everyone who that is. They're saying goodbye to Steele and whatnot, and Steele and Natasha are feeling a bit awkward about telling John about his mother, and saying how thinks she's talking to her husband, who's obviously been long gone, her daughter. So John goes to see her, and this is another one of these heartbreaking scenes where the mother starts talking to him, but then she starts referencing John and the daughter being asleep, and you realize that she thinks she's talking to her husband when she's talking to John, and it's kind of heartbreaking because obviously he can tell that as well. And it would make sense as well that he might remind her of him, right? He probably looks like his dad. So, but then she breaks down when she's like, wait, something's not quite right. And obviously when you get to this next page and it's all these like triangles as if it's just like shattered glass, as if her world's just completely shattering around her, it's pretty heartbreaking. And he goes to hug her, the color palette changes, you know, it gets much colder. It feels like a really empty, lonely, fractured page. It's a really good series of choices here. This, you know, if you had some little quibbles of that 2-page layout earlier where they had to put in the arrows, this one is like we're operating on a whole other level where it's working, it's distinct, it's memorable, but it's also easy to read. There's no doubts of where your eye's going for the bubbles. Very good stuff.
There's a flow to it that other one kind of was lacking, you know. But here, before he goes, right, he makes Natasha tells him to be careful because it's delicate in dealing with someone with her condition. And he just says, I'm a Green Lantern. A Green Lantern can do anything. And I love how this becomes his mantra through the rest of the book. Like, I'm not that schooled in the John Stewart mythology. I don't know if this is a thing that was established that Johnson's picked up on. But I feel like going forward, this is kind of his character in a nutshell. So I like what it represents here in the next couple pages.
Yeah, what he does here is he says a Green Lantern can do anything, and he forms a construct of his dead sister as a girl, and makes her full color, and even talks to her and says, do you understand what you are? And she's like, I'm your heart, I'm your mind, I'm your memories, and most of all, I'm your will. And I'm to protect Mother at all costs. and he kind of like approves of her, and he puts his dog tags around her, which maybe he's linked to her, so that it's on some level. Like, I imagine there might be something that comes up in a later issue where he's getting his ass kicked, and this construct starts to fade away because his will's not projecting it anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Just leaving the dog tags for his mom. Oof.
Oh yeah, the dog tags just fall to the ground because there's no girl anymore.
God, Johnson's gonna do us dirty like that too, and try to make us cry.
Yeah, admittedly, like I don't know, like I don't necessarily love the idea that you can make a construct that can talk. Okay, I'm
no. It is this thing though that we're in the Wild West, like uncharted territory for Green Lanterns between Hal and him, right? Because
to be fair, yes, this Green Lantern energy that he's using is from the Genesis fragment. This is not the Green Lantern powered battery. But my logic with Green Lantern constructs has always been that it's more like a T-1000, right? You can make knives and stabbing weapons, but you can't make like a complex, like,
he can't
chemical.
clone himself to be two T-1000s, right?
Yes, yes. I just, you know, so that's always kind of my thinking when I think of constructs. But obviously, Green Lantern writers through all of time have done their own weird, wacky takes of it. If you go back and read Silver Age Green Lantern when Hal was first introduced, he was doing all sorts of weird shit that I would never like in modern day Green Lantern comics.
I mean, it was a magic ring that was operating under sci-fi rules. You know what I mean? So the fact here that this is channeled will, I think it opens up a door to what Green Lanterns can do. And
well, I think that the two reasons why I'm not mad at this is one, yes, the energy source is different if that's important to you. I think the real reason why I'm not that mad, though, is because he's not doing this to save the day and solve a problem. No. This is purely an emotional thing for his mother. Right. And because it's not affecting, like, he's not doing this to, I don't know, win a fight with a big supervillain or something like that. Then I'd feel like it was, he's pulled this out of his ass kind of thing. Although, admittedly, if he does this later, makes a construct to trick a villain or something, it at least will have been set up here that he can do it, and it won't feel like complete bullshit because they've already done it. So, you know, I'll acknowledge that. But ultimately, him making this choice to do this, to keep this lie going, and then seeing how happy the mother is because she sees her daughter in the next page, and like him leaving that behind, and like Shepard saying, "Hey, I'm not going to judge you for this. Like, you know, no judgment from me. Like, let's go and save the universe." Like, I thought that was all very beautiful, so it's hard to be even mad at this when I typically feel I'm quite picky about what Green Lanterns can and can't do.
Yeah, and the thing on that too is, you know, he creates this construct, but I do feel like because there's such an emotional tie to it, that's why he can do it, I feel. It's for his mom. It's to keep her comforted, right? Like in the heat of battle and whatever, he doesn't have those same emotions going. You know, so it's almost like this thing is a product of the emotional spectrum, you know, because what we always knew from when they introduced that spectrum was that green was just a piece of it, and now I feel like it's all bleeding in together, and this is basically just the power of will, right? It's no longer about the green, you know, color spectrum and all of that other stuff that represents will. Its will is something that can move mountains, right? It's more poetic than that. And for here, it's his will brought his sister back from the dead to comfort his mom. And again, this might be something that only John Stewart can do, right? Because of his relationship
it may be,
of the ring and his mom and his sister and all this other stuff. So...
but regardless, you know, it's a great emotional beat. From there, him and Shepard go to the rainforest where, this Dark Star logo has been, you know, burned into the ground. John explains that a little bit to Shepard, what that is. Basically, Shepard talks about how he was a little disappointed with this John Stewart at first because the John Stewart hero seemed invincible, right, as John puts it himself. And you know, this John had quit the Corps. He's this more flawed character, and I like this because John's basically like, hey, like, your heroes are still just human, right? They're just as fragile as everyone else. Like, no one's above all of that. I also like that when John makes like constructs of like various Green Lanterns to help fight, or Dark Stars, they're all kind of recognizable races. Like, there's a I don't know what.
Zudarian, the fin-headed guy.
Yeah. I was gonna say a Tomar 2.
Well, that's who that is. That's Tomar 2.
Is that literally him?
Yeah, he got bounced from the core. That's how he ended up in the Dark Stars.
I just thought it was one of his kind, not literally him. But fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Tomar Ray's obviously the other one.
Yep.
So a bunch of Green Lanterns show up, right? And I was thinking, oh, is this all from the other universe? And it's not. This is the Green Lanterns that were sent by the United Planets, because I went back and glanced at this scene from last issue.
Yep.
So the guy from the planet, was it Duras? How I say his name is?
The Durlans. So
the
from Planet
Durlans.
Durla.
Yeah, but what's the guy's name? The main one.
Oh, God.
It was something like Duras. I don't know. I could be.
Theron. Right?
Arenth?
What? Yeah, you're talking about the Durlan, the main bad guy, right?
Yeah, the main Darling guy.
Yeah. I believe it's Tharron. I think it's Terran.
Okay. Anyway, he sent a bunch of Green Lanterns because the father of Varen is like an important political figure, and he wants to be in a good place with them. So these Green Lanterns have been sent here to find him or get revenge on whoever killed him. So that's who all these guys are. And of course, as soon as they show up, they're basically a bunch of red shirts. And my first thought was, the Radiant Dead only infects Green Lanterns. This feels like a lot of fodder for the Radiant Dead to take over, doesn't it?
This seems like a terrible plan for the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah. I mean, they couldn't have known what they were walking into, of course. No one else knows about this stuff. But still, sure enough, it comes up through the ground. The Revenant Queen's there.
Yep. Oh, man, she's looking rough.
Yeah. Basically, in the meantime, whilst John's been building his new ring and getting over everything, she has infected the Earth itself and is spreading everywhere. And if I have a critique of this issue, it is probably that it ends very, very suddenly and doesn't feel like it builds up to an ending.
Abrupt, yeah. I got done with this and I saw the end. It says, next, end and beginning. And I was like, wait, there's got to be more, right? And there was none. That was it.
Yeah.
So,
the opening is strong. The stuff with John's mother is fantastic. And I think the stuff in the rainforest building up to the Green Lanterns is nice and creepy, but with some good conversation. Yeah. Art from Montos is great throughout, barring that, needing the arrows to tell the order of that one page. It's just a case of the ending doesn't build to a climax or a cliffhanger in the way that you'd expect it to. Right. It's in this big fight. The Green Lanterns haven't all been taken over yet, although I suspect all of them but the main two that we're following will next issue. Just because that makes sense to me. But so very, very good though. Like I've been digging this a lot. I think the John and Shepherd getting to know each other a little bit and just talking about their past and all that stuff is very good. So yeah, but the emotional stuff with the mom is fantastic. It's next level stuff. So yeah.
I'll agree. And by the way, it's Theros, not Theron. I was getting confused with Theron.
There you go.
Yes. So he's the grand uniting figure of this United Planets subplot.
Yeah. That's the old corruption and the politics of the United Planets is something that's it's intriguing me more and more the more we get little snippets of it.
Yep.
But very, very good. So yeah. No, I still love the art for the faces and like John's reactions. I mean, a lot of that emotional stuff is so good. Because of the art, because of the mother looking happy or shocked, or just downright terrified that she doesn't know where her kids are in one scene. All very good stuff.
And then her face when she sees Ellie walk in.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yes, Montos is working.
Yeah, even just the more subtle moments where like Natasha's like giving the side eye to John Henry because you didn't tell him about his mum and about she's like in a worse state kind of thing.
She's deteriorating and you didn't tell him?
Yeah, all that stuff is very good. So yeah. All right, what are you giving Green Lantern War Journal?
I'm gonna say an 8.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it an 8, and I think it would be higher if not for that weirdly abrupt ending and that one panel sequencing issue in that one page. So, still very good overall, but just those two quibbles kind of holding it back just a little bit.